Hi, and welcome to DrupalBrief. This is an AI-generated summary of another video, podcast, or blog post. If you want to learn more about what's being discussed here, then please go check out the source. This podcast is produced by the team at Drupal Forge. Drupal Forge is the new #1 open-source development and hosting platform. It has all the functionality of the expensive platforms, but at very affordable prices. If you're looking for a new hosting provider, contact us for a demo before you get locked in. Okay, that's it. Make sure to click subscribe, and here we go.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we sift through the information you need, pulling out the crucial insights so you can stay well-informed without feeling overwhelmed.
That's the goal.
Today, we're tackling a seemingly small, but, surprisingly significant issue for anyone working with Drupal websites.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about those potentially overwhelming rows of buttons or tabs you see at the top of content pages. We're diving into Drupal local tasks.
Precisely. And our source today is a YouTube video featuring Jacob Rakowitz. He's a well-respected Drupal consultant, maintains quite a few modules.
Right.
And he walks us through his solution to this very problem, the local task more module.
Okay.
So whether you're actually managing a Drupal site day to day, or maybe you work with developers, or perhaps you're just curious about web development challenges and the clever fixes people come up with.
Yeah.
Your mission in this deep dive is really to grasp this practical solution for a common usability hurdle and also appreciate the thinking behind its design.
Okay, so let's paint a picture. You're looking at a piece of content in Drupal a node, technically speaking.
Right.
You've got your basics, view, edit. Then maybe you add Layout Builder for arranging things visually, revisions to see past versions.
Standard stuff.
Translate if it's a multilingual site. That's already, 5 tabs?
It adds up quickly.
But then maybe you add the usage module to see where content's linked or cloned to duplicate it easily, maybe the devil module if you're a developer, or even something like convert, or maybe a module that sticks a publish unpublished button right there.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're looking at this dense row of buttons.
Yeah, it can get pretty crowded.
And that visual clutter, making it harder to find what you actually need, that's exactly what this local task more module is designed to fix.
And what's interesting is the module's core goal. It's all about streamlining that user experience by, decluttering.
Right.
It gives you the power to hide and reorder those tasks you don't use very often. The idea is a cleaner, more efficient interface, especially for people who mostly just need those core actions like view and edit.
And it does this without totally changing the UI, right? That seems important.
Exactly. It avoids that learning curve you get with completely new interface patterns. Users get a cleaner look without having to relearn where everything is.
Okay, so let's dig into the module itself a bit. Created by Jacob Rakowitz, as you said. It's currently in beta.
Beta status.
Now, that beta status and the fact it doesn't have official security coverage, those are important points for people to keep in mind, yeah?
Absolutely. Beta means it's still being worked on, could have bugs, probably best for testing, not necessarily straight onto a live production site without careful consideration.
And the security coverage.
Yeah, the lack of official coverage means it hasn't had that formal review by the Drupal security team, so there's a slightly higher risk involved.
But on the plus side, it is actively maintained, which is always good to see.
Definitely. And it has some basic automated tests in place.
The video mentioned there isn't a ton of formal documentation.
Right, but that seems intentional in a way. It's mostly driven by a configuration form designed to be pretty intuitive.
Gotcha. And usage. How many sites are actually using it?
Well, the video mentioned around 22 sites at that time, so relatively modest adoption so far.
Okay.
Which isn't necessarily bad for a newer module, but it gives you a sense of its current footprint.
So the configuration, that's where the action is. By default, it targets the node route and the node edit form route. Can you unpack routes quickly?
Sure. Routes in Drupal are basically the paths or URLs that lead to different pages or functions. So this module focuses on where those local tasks tend to pile up the most on content view pages and content edit forms.
That's flexible.
Yeah, that's the key. You can configure it for other routes throughout your site if you need to clean up tasks elsewhere.
Okay, here's the clever part, the core functionality. It lets you do a few things, right? You can reweight tasks.
Which just means reordering them, basically. Changing their priority in the list.
You can hide tasks completely.
Yep, get rid of ones you never use.
And maybe the neatest bit, you can set a threshold. Like, only show the first X number of tasks.
Exactly, and that's where the user experience really improves.
How does that look?
So if the number of tasks on a page goes over the limit you set, say, you only want 5 visibles, initially, the module adds a little arrow icon at the end.
Okay.
Click the arrow, and boom, it expands to show all the hidden ones.
Oh, that's nice.
And what's really thoughtful is that it remembers the state expanded or collapsed for each user, so it stays how you left it.
That is a nice touch. And it works with any theme.
Pretty much. Because it hooks into the standard way Drupal themes display local tasks, usually as a simple list, it should just work, whether it's your front-end theme or your admin theme.
So the design philosophy seems to be minimal disruption. Don't change the whole system, just add a smart control layer.
Precisely. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel for local tasks, just make the existing wheel less overwhelming.
Which brings us back to why this is needed. Let's revisit that example. View, edit, layout, revisions, translate, usage, clone, devil, convert, publish, unpublish.
Yeah, imagine being a content editor. Your main job is updating text, maybe swapping an image.
You just need edit most of the time.
Exactly. All those other buttons just become noise. It slows you down, makes it harder to find the one you actually need.
And the video had that great specific example with the publish content module.
Ah, yes, the one that adds the publish toggle right there as a local task.
Convenient, maybe, but the potential issue.
The issue pointed out was that this button often ends up right next to view and edit.
Which are clicked constantly.
Right. So for someone who only changes the publish status occasionally, having that powerful unpublished button sitting right next to their everyday edit button, that introduces a real risk of an accidental click.
Oof, yeah. You don't want to accidentally unpublish something important.
Definitely not. So local task more lets you just tuck that less used high impact button away safely behind the arrow.
Mitigates the risk. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, are there other ways to handle this? Other modules?
Oh, for sure. The Drupal community has tackled this in various ways over the years. Some modules are more radical.
Radical how?
Well, they might move the local tasks entirely, make them sticky at the top or bottom, maybe move them to a sidebar, or integrate them into the main admin toolbar.
Okay, big changes.
Yeah. And this is where local task more really differentiates itself. It deliberately avoids those major UI shifts.
Keeps them where you expect them.
Exactly. In that familiar horizontal list. It just enhances that UI with visibility controls.
Which is different from, say, an admin theme solution too, right?
Right.
Like Jin's side-scrolling taskbar.
Right. That side-scrolling helps if the tasks just don't fit visually, but it doesn't hide or prioritize them based on usage.
And crucially, admin theme tweaks don't help on the front end if tasks are shown there.
Good point. This module can work on both sides.
Let's talk customization. You mentioned reordering via YAML.
Yep. It exposes a YAML configuration file. Now, YAML might sound a bit technical for some.
Yeah, maybe for non-developer site builders.
Potentially. But it's basically a structured text file where you can change the weight value for each task. Lower weight means it appears earlier.
So you can fine-tune the order.
Precisely. The video also hinted you might be able to shorten the labels sometimes too, which also helps clean things up.
Any chance of a drag-and-drop UI for that in the future, maybe?
Hey, maybe. That would certainly make it more accessible. But for now, it's YAML.
The video also mentioned ECA Entity Construction Kit. That could potentially do this too.
In theory, yes. ECA is super powerful. You could probably intercept the process that builds those tasks and reorder or hide them. But the point made was that using a dedicated module like local task more keeps all that specific logic contained in one place. It's simpler to manage just for this one problem, potentially less complex overall than building custom ECA rules for it.
Right, keeps things focused.
And that really gets to the why behind this module. Why build another one?
Yeah.
The creator felt existing solutions often did too much. They aimed for a big UI overhaul.
Whereas this is
lightweight, laser-focused on just hiding and reordering. It fills that niche for people who want a simple fix, not a whole new way of interacting with tasks. It's a different kind of solution.
So thinking ahead, could something like this end up in Drupal core eventually?
It's an interesting thought, given how, user-friendly the outcome is, solving a common pain point. You could see it, perhaps. Or maybe in something like the Drupal CMS initiative, which sometimes adopts usability features faster.
And what about admin themes? Are they moving in this direction?
Well, we are seeing admin themes taking more control over styling and displaying elements like local tasks, trying to create more consistency and more polished feel.
So there's definitely a broader focus on improving this area.
Absolutely. There's an ongoing discussion in the community about navigation, core UI UX. The video even suggested the official UI UX team might revisit local tasks specifically.
And it's worth remembering, this hide and show more approach isn't the only way, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
As we touched on, there are modules putting tasks at the bottom on the left in sticky banners. It really shows Drupal's flexibility.
Tailored to your needs.
Exactly. And the mention of using CSS variables for easier theming across admin and front-end themes, that points to wanting more adaptability there too.
It's interesting how the philosophy, lightweight, not too opinionated, mirrors other parts of Drupal. Like the core contact form was mentioned.
Yeah, just a brief mention, but it fits. The core contact module gives you the basics. It doesn't try to be a giant, complex form system out of the box. This module feels similar in spirit for local tasks.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up, the local task more module, it sounds like a simple, direct, pretty effective answer to a common Drupal frustration. Too many darn tabs.
That's the gist. It improves usability by letting you hide and reorder the less common stuff, but without forcing a whole new UI on you.
So for you, our listener, if you've ever found yourself squinting at that long row of buttons on a Drupal page, wondering where edit went this time,
We've all been there.
this module offers a really practical way to bring some order to that chaos, to streamline how you work with your content. I know I've seen sites where I felt like I needed a separate scroll bar just for the admin tabs.
Yeah, it can get like that. Which leads to a final thought, maybe something for you to ponder.
Go on.
Think about those seemingly small UI and UX choices in the software you use every day, not just Drupal. How do things like managing button visibility actually impact your efficiency, your satisfaction? Are there other digital tools you use where maybe a similar less is more approach, like hiding less used options, could make a really big difference to your experience?
Okay, we're done. To close off this podcast, I just wanted to remind you that this brief was a fully AI-generated summary, and we take no credit for the original content. If you want to learn more, then check out the source. This podcast is produced by the team at Drupal Forge. Drupal Forge is the new #1 open-source development and hosting platform. It has all the functionality of the expensive platforms, but at very affordable prices. If you're looking for a new hosting provider, contact us for a demo before you get locked in. And if you like this podcast, hit subscribe, post a link on social media, and recommend it to 2 friends. That's it. See you next time. Bye for now.